Hi, I'm Peggy Farron, and we are live with the Understand Photography Show, where we talk about travel, nature, and fine art photography. Welcome to episode 103. Our guest today is Satishs Background. How'd I do?
Great.
And we're going to be talking about long exposures. So we are live on Facebook right now. It's facebook.com/understandphotography. Our show, the Understand Photography Show, is live at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time every Friday on Facebook. And then on Saturday, we upload it to YouTube and to SoundCloud, so it goes out as a podcast to iTunes, Stitcher, whatever you listen to. So please subscribe. Leave us a review. That would be great. Thank you so much. And thanks for listening and watching, whatever you're doing. Our online classes are on sale through tonight, August 31st, 2018. Okay, so we had a summer sale. Today's the last day. So if you're interested in any of our online classes, check them out. You can go directly to our online site, our online classes site, which is onlinephotoworkshops.com. 1201, they're all going back to regular price. Now, our motto at Understand Photography is we simplify the technical. So if you're the kind of person who likes things spelled out for you, little by little, step by step, then you're going to like our teaching style. The biggest discount is on the 4 weeks to proficiency in photography. That's our signature course. It's going to give you a good foundation in photography. It's an interactive live course, so it starts September 19th. But it's only on sale through tonight. So if you sign up tomorrow, it's going to be $100 more than it is today. So if you're interested in that class especially, today's the day to sign up. Okay, I'll quit on that. Also at understandphotography.com, check out our trips, and especially we've got our ladies only trip to Cuba coming up in February. The deadline to register for that is coming up in about a month, so it's coming up really, really quickly. That's all at understandphotography.com. So my guest today is fine art photographer Satishs Background. I love that.
Thanks, buddy.
So Satishs creates incredible images that evoke feelings of peace and serenity, and his focus is on coastal and ocean conservation, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So how did you become a fine art photographer?
I guess I did photography in high school. I did like a summer class. And I really loved it, like just handling the camera, and I was lucky enough to be one of the kids to have his own, you know, they hand them out. But then, you know, I got into television, production through high school, through college, and then I've been doing it since 2010.
Okay.
But then, you know, I got into like a depression because I wasn't being fulfilled. Okay. So I remember I loved photography. So I got back into it, you know, and one of the first places I went was the ocean. And I just loved the feeling of being there. So that's like, you know, like when the water was coming over my feet and just being there listening to the ocean and the waves, I just fell in love with that. And so that's kind of how I got into landscape photography. Okay. You know, I started doing trees and insects, you know, just like whenever you start, you know, you start shooting bugs and whatever is interesting. But the beach just captured me. Yeah. So I just focused on that.
I agree with that. I mean, I think whenever I feel, I don't know, down or anything, going to the beach just makes you feel so good. And you live on the east coast of Florida.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I actually have a sign in my house that says the beach makes everything feel better.
That's true.
Yeah. So.
And you were raised near the beach?
Well,
or not near
like 20
the beach,
minutes away.
20 minutes.
But yeah, it's still good enough.
Still.
Yeah.
Still close enough, right?
Close enough, yeah.
So now, in your images, you can feel that emotion.
Oh, thank you.
How do you attribute to that? You know, how do you get emotion into your photography? I mean, that's kind of hard to do, but you feel it in yours.
I'm not sure if there's a technique. I guess I shoot what I feel.
Okay.
So like, you know, when I get to the beach, I just, you know, in landscape photography, you know, everything depends on the weather, and you know, sometimes you'll go out in the morning expecting a grand sunrise, but it'll be overcast. So I like to work with what's there and just capture that emotion. You know, so if it's gray and moody, I'm gonna try and create that feeling. Whereas, you know, you have that grand sunrise, you're gonna feel like bright and alive. So I just kind of just take what I get and work with that.
Okay.
I think also like as far as like editing, I kind of keep it realistic, so it's it's not like overly saturated, and it just, I guess it's more subdued.
Right.
So you do get that feeling of like peace and tranquility.
Yeah, you really do in your work.
So,
It's really,
thank you.
it's nice, very, very nice. Now you use your images to promote conservation. How does that work?
Yeah. So once I got into it, I started learning more about the ocean, and through that, I just found out there's so many things affecting our ocean these days. Like right now we have the red tide and the algae bloom. So I really wanted to use my photography to help educate people and also to show them the beauty of what our beaches should look like.
Okay.
We don't want to see like dead fish and dead turtles laying around. We want nice clean sand, nice blue waters. So my mission, when I go to my art shows, I try to educate people. At least use less plastic. Do this. There's so many things we can do to help conserve our oceans. But the main thing, once you see something, the ocean is so beautiful, you want to keep it that way.
Yeah, that's so true.
It's like capturing a memory.
It is.
And I don't want to sound morbid, but maybe one day the ocean won't look like that.
It doesn't right now, because we got dead fish
so
everywhere.
It's capturing that moment.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is so great about photography,
Now, how do you decide if a scene should be shot with a long exposure or a faster shutter speed, or do you do both and try it out, or?
I do both, but me personally, I like the long exposure look.
I do too.
Where like, when the water's receding, it looks like brush strokes almost. I rarely capture like if a wave's crashing where you see like every little droplet.
Yeah.
I just like the calmness of the water going back, so I want to capture that movement.
And how slow do you go?
I guess I range between like 1/8 of a second all the way up to 30 seconds. But when you go to 30 seconds, it's like flat.
Yeah.
It just, all the waves go away, which is cool, but you get that nice misty look. But yeah, between a third and maybe like 4 seconds, I find I get the results of the streaks.
Okay.
Yeah, and like, if there's a foreground, like a rock or something, you get a nice swirling motion around it, So I would say it ranges from 1/4 to like 5 seconds, 4 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it would have to be longer than that.
It depends. If you really want it flat, then you go like into the 30 seconds. I guess if you want to move like fast moving clouds, that's when you keep it open longer. 30 seconds. If you go to bulb mode, you'll go minutes.
Now, how do you use filters?
Yeah.
And do you have a specific brand you like? Or?
I currently use Lee filters. I had a set of Stingray filters, but they were actually stolen from me.
That's what happened to me. Not with my filters, but I had an expensive something that was small like that somebody...
You think you're amongst like friends, but I think someone just snatched it. But yeah, the quality, if you have the money, I would definitely go with the Stingray. There's just no color cast, and it's actually like real glass. I think Lee just came out with their Pro Glass series, but it's super expensive.
Yeah, filters are expensive in general.
They are.
Do you have a set, or do you have?
I have a set.
Do you have like a favorite strength or whatever? Is it called strength? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I guess densities.
Density. Okay.
I like the 3-stop and the 6-stop.
Those are the two that you use the most.
Yeah, because when I'm shooting in the morning, it's usually still dark, but as the sun's coming up, I use the 3-stop because you'll get a good shutter speed where you're not waiting hours. If you throw a 10-stop on in the morning, you're going to be there for hours because your average shutter speed might be like 20 seconds, and that 20 seconds can become like 2 hours. So if you throw a 10-stop on.
Okay, yeah.
So that's why I switch between the 3 and the 6, because I
Okay.
get better results and I'm not waiting there.
And how do you know which one you want to use? You're just kind of
I
like,
guess-
how soft do I want the picture to be kind of thing?
I guess from what I'm feeling that day, if I want it really smooth or I just want to capture the movement.
So do you normally do them in the first thing in the morning? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I'm a morning person.
You're a morning person, you just are.
Yeah.
Not that
I'll
it's
be
the
up
best
at 3
time.
a.m., drive
my
2 hours to
gosh.
somewhere. Yeah.
3 a.m.?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I actually, the last time I woke up at 3 a.m. was to go to Sanibel first. And it's not a sunrise spot, but
How far is that from where you live?
About 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
But to me, it's worth it, you know? I guess I like sunrise because it's less people. You have the place to yourself, and it's just so quiet and calm, and also because the sand is cleaner.
Oh yeah,
you know, because
true.
from overnight the tide is clean away all the footsteps and everything.
That's a good point.
So less Photoshop.
Yeah, yeah. Now Stingray, they're right here in Florida, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're in,
yeah.
where are they?
I think
Acadia or Arcadia?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
they're in Arcadia.
Somewhere on the West Coast, yeah.
Get them as a guest.
Yeah.
Just thought of that.
But yeah, they actually have really nice, cool set of filters.
That's
like
cool.
they have standard neutral densities. They have the neutral density gradient ones.
Oh,
and they have the reverse gradient ones too.
Do you use the gradients at all?
Yeah, yeah. For a while I stopped because I would bracket my shots and later just blend them manually. But I guess I like the feeling of using the filters because it makes me slow down. So I'm not like, you know,
now,
rushing.
are the filters, are they the kind that you screw onto your thing, or are they, do you have like
the square and rectangular
the square
ones
that
yeah.
you have like a little,
it's an
what do you
adapter.
call that? A little adapter?
Yeah.
And it goes around the lens.
Yep.
And then the filters
slide it on.
Slide
yeah.
in. Okay.
Yeah, I started out with the round ones, but you can't really stack them, otherwise you'll get like vignetting.
Oh, but you can
yeah.
stack the square ones.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
if you get the right adapter, I think Lee has the adapters. It screws on to your lens in the front. From there, you have another attachment called the foundation kit.
Okay.
Which is what's actually holding the filters on the front. So.
Yeah, I've seen them, but I don't own them personally.
Yeah, no,
but I would like to because I love.
I
long
recommend
exposure.
it. I mean, just the feeling of it. I mean, I guess it's like a little nostalgia. You know, like back in the day shooting film, you know, that's what they used because there was no bracketing or
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So.
But still, you still can't really do the super long exposures without a filter, can you? Or
it depends on the time of day. You know, so if you're up early, you can get a good 30-second exposure without a filter.
I just, one of my friends taught me a technique to do simulated long exposures.
Okay.
And I actually just put it on YouTube and on our blog last Tuesday, but you just take a bunch of pictures of like the run, you know, some water that's running or something, and then you blend them together in Photoshop, and it gives it that silky water effect. I wanted to do it at the beach, but I thought I got to get it done, so I did it at a lake.
Yeah. So it like smoothed out the ripples and everything?
Yeah, it was like a
cool.
running lake. You could see the running water, so
cool.
it looks just like a long exposure.
Wow. Wow.
It's really cool.
Nice.
So, and my shutter speed was 100th of a second.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to watch my
Gotcha.
YouTube video.
I guess you have to be that fast to capture all those images, right?
Yeah, I think I took 30 images and then stacked them in photo. My friend Chris taught me how to do it. It's really cool though.
Gotcha.
How do you figure, like, what makes a good long exposure picture, like, to you? Like, how do you know? Like, you know, I mean, obviously the ocean, that's a great, because you've got the movement of the water. The clouds. Clouds are cool when they're moving to get them all soft looking. What are other good examples?
I guess I look just for a strong, non-moving subject, really, to like anchor the scene. So that way, like, you know, like if you're shooting a pier, you know, the pier's not going to move, so it's not going to be blurred out, but you're going to have the water nice and smooth and the clouds going by. So I always look for something strong that's not moving, just to anchor the scene.
Okay, so that's the subject basically.
Yeah.
The main subject, and then, or if you have a cool foreground object, like you said, if there's a rock or something.
Actually, and sometimes if I don't have a foreground, I'll use the receding water as a foreground because you'll get the nice streaks, you know. So that becomes a little texture in the foreground.
Ah.
Yeah. So because, you know, here in Florida, there's not. You know, we don't have mountains or like.
We don't have any rocks.
There's some
over
areas.
Here. You have
with
rocks over there?
Yeah, on the East Coast, there's a few areas.
We have some, but not very many.
Yeah, like Coral Cove Park is like a coquina, limestone, all the way up to like St. Augustine.
Okay.
Marineland. Have you heard of that place? It's like, it looks like another planet out there.
And it's in St. Augustine or right around St. Augustine?
It's like St. Augustine, Palm Coast area, right on the beach.
Okay.
But you go there and the rocks are like, they have like, it looks like Swiss cheese because there's holes in them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and you know, you go during low tide, you'll see everything, and it's so cool.
I want to go now. I want to go.
I actually went for my first time last year, and I've gone back 4 times since, just because I love it so much.
How cool
It's like a
is
playground,
that?
like for photographers, because there's like endless compositions. I recommend low tide because everything is exposed, as well as like tide pools and just textures in the sand, so you have everything there.
Now, do you have an app that you use to find out when low tide is?
Yeah. I use the Surfline app.
What's it called?
Surfline.
Surfline?
Yeah.
Can you just type that in Google, though, and find out
Yeah,
tides
you can pretty much
like
just type tide
marine,
chart for,
tide
you know,
chart.
whatever area you're going. So that would be
But
like
the app
Palm
is
Coast.
easier, do you feel like?
Yeah, because like you can save your destinations. So like I have one saved for that area, so I can just click on it and, you know. But you
Now,
can,
how did you find out about that place? Another photographer?
Yeah, another
Okay.
photographer. Yeah. Just I kind of Googled just, you know, rock formations in Florida.
Seriously?
Yeah, and they come up. Yeah.
Google rock formations in Florida.
Yeah.
How else do you scout locations?
I guess
That's
just
pretty good. I never would have thought of
the
that.
traditional way of just driving around, you know, and another thing is Google Maps. You know, you can kind of like just zoom in on area now and just see what's kind of there, and then you go and explore it.
You know, it's funny. We wanted to. It's so busy here in the winter. You live in Florida, so you know we're very seasonal.
Yeah.
So the only time I have to scout out locations and things is in the summer when it rains all the time, and I don't have a 4-wheel drive car. You know, I got a minivan.
Yeah.
So I said I really want to go all the way through Jane's Scenic Drive, but I'm kind of scared because I know how wet it gets back there and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And I just went on Facebook yesterday, and a guy who was a guest on the show, he had his drone out there, and he followed that same road that I wanted to take. Thank God I never took it, because even the Jeeps couldn't get through, because there's they're like lakes in the middle of the road. It's so, because it's been raining, as you know, it's been raining a lot. So
that's
so
cool.
I
The
be
drone,
going,
you know, you get a little bird's eye view.
Yeah, I was just like, well, this is exactly where I wanted to look, and he just sort of went down the road I wanted to go down. It was just one of those.
Nice.
I know.
Saved you the trip.
Yeah, but you know, I think when you need to befriend other photographers.
Of course, yeah.
Because you find out a lot of good information from other photographers. Some aren't going to share, but most people will share.
I guess I'm in the middle. I kind of share some places and some other places I don't, because, you know, the more these are like natural areas, and the more they get known, the more people go and, you know, they trash the place, which is one thing I want to stress too. Is like, you know, you go and just leave it the way it is. You know, I'll go to like these places and there's like beer bottles and glass. It's like, be respectful of the area. You know?
I don't understand that at all.
So,
I don't understand how can you just leave your trash things there without picking
It's something
up.
I can't comprehend.
I can't even get it,
You know?
you know? And of course, part of it, I've been living in Naples for so long, everything is so clean and perfect here.
Yeah.
And so you go, like my nephew he's in the Air Force, and for a while he was at Cocoa Beach and went to Cocoa Beach, and it literally was trash all over the beach.
Yeah.
People just
because
left it
know,
there.
People go there for spring break, you know.
How disrespectful
to
even to themselves, it seemed,
But yeah, they don't realize the harm. Like, you know, we have sea turtles coming here. It's nesting season now, but like, you know, you leave hooks and balls around, it's just gonna mess everything up.
Plus, it's just gross.
It's gross, yeah.
I mean, would you leave trash living around
in your
you're laying?
house?
Yeah, I mean, jeez.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay, so I want to learn long exposure photography.
Okay.
Do I have to have a certain lens?
No, you can use any lens. It depends what you want to shoot. I shoot landscape, so I'm using a wide angle lens.
Okay.
16 to 35.
All right. And so what are some of the problems I'm going to have when I'm just beginning? I can tell you already, the first one is buying a cheap filter.
Yeah.
Because I've done that.
Yeah. I guess if you're first starting out, I guess you can try the cheap filters. I don't recommend it.
No, you know why? Because the color, it's not just the
color
color.
cast.
They have like shady areas to them. It's not just like, because that's what I thought, the color's a little off, I can fix that in Photoshop or something. But no, there was like an X in the pictures of
I know what you're talking about,
black stuff, and it was like, what the heck is this?
So I think those are the variable ND
yes.
filters. I don't like those just because of that reason. If you turn them too much one way, you get that X because it's made up of so many filters in there. So
don't get the variable.
I mean, if you do, just don't go too far with it. You know,
I
think there's markers
I can't get
with
it right.
Really?
In fact, I don't think I threw it away, but I probably should because I don't think I could ever get it right.
Yeah. But
okay, so all
recommend
right, step me through. Okay, what do I have to do?
The expensive filters. So.
And how expensive is expensive? And can you start with
They
one?
range. So the new Lee filters, the pro ones, they start at like $200
for one filter.
For one filter, yeah.
So you have to get your size.
Yeah.
So if your favorite lens is.
The thing is, the filter, you also need an adapter ring. So you know how like filter sizes are like 67 millimeters, 72, 77. You have to make sure you have the right one for your lens.
Okay, so
and then
just slow down because maybe the audience doesn't understand that. So basically, each lens has a size.
Yeah, it's like a diameter.
The diameter.
Yeah.
And you could have like my 70 to 200 is 77 millimeters, as is my 24 to 70.
Yeah.
Even though they're different lenses.
Yeah.
The size
is the
same. Diameter is the same size. So I could use the same filter
on both lenses.
On those.
Yeah.
So, all right, go ahead.
Yeah, so then, that attaches to your lens, and then you have the actual filter holder, which just snaps onto this little ring. It fits all of them. So, and the filters come in square, 4x4, and also rectangular, 4x6, and those are usually the ND grads.
Oh, so you can slide it down.
You can slide it down
through, so that when you're talking about ND grads, you're talking about a graduated filter that's usually darker on the top and clear on the bottom.
Yeah.
But it's like
it fades. It's like a nice gradual fade.
So you can move the fade.
Yep.
Okay. And when would you use those?
If I want to just darken the sky
and not
balance out the exposure,
because
usually sometimes your foreground is dark but your sky is so bright, so you would use the ND grad to just bring down the stops on the sky.
So it kind of evens out the lighting. That's what it does. Okay.
Exactly. So, but yeah, the actual ND filters are square.
Okay.
And they come in different densities. There's 3, 6, 10. I believe there's a 15 stop now.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's made for like just being in the bright daylight, and you can get 30 seconds and above of shutter speeds. So you can go to the beach midday and you'll have smooth water using that guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so let's say I just want to. How much is the adapter going to cost?
The adapters, I think are around $60.
Okay, now are we talking about a certain brand, or is this
I get
just
the Lee brand.
Standard?
Yeah, I always stick with the brands because I know they're going to work together fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because there are other filter companies out there, and I just want to make sure they're they get married correctly. Because
you stack them, and when you say stack them, what do you mean?
So in the front, I would put like my regular ND filter, like let's say the 10 stop, and in the front of that is where I'd put the grad ND. They hold up to like 3.
Grad ND?
ND, yeah.
Oh, ND.
Yeah.
So the graduated filter.
The graduated filter, yeah.
Neutral density is what ND is.
Neutral density, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so on the actual filter holder, there's like 3 slots where you can slide the filters in.
Oh, so if I were just a beginner and I don't want to spend $1,000 or more, could I just buy one? I need the adapter thing.
Yeah.
And then could I just buy one filter
you can start
at
it with
a time?
One filter,
and then, because you said it's $200 for one filter?
Yeah, for the pro level ones, yeah.
Do they get more expensive the stronger they are, or the density? Like, is a 3 stop less expensive than a 10 stop? Or you don't know?
I
didn't send you all these questions ahead of time, did I?
I don't think so, but they're not that far apart if they are.
Okay.
But I know like the pro level Lee filters are more expensive, like I think by $100. So you can get the regular Lee 10 stop for like, I think it's like $130. But if you get the pro level, it's almost $300.
Okay.
But starting out, you don't need the $300 filter.
Yeah.
Then the reason I guess they're more expensive because there's actually they advertise no color cast. So you're not gonna get like that blue tint, on your filter on your picture.
Okay.
So.
But the Stingrays are more in line.
The Stingrays are
price-wise as the pro level and the.
Yeah, they're expensive, but also because they're glass.
Okay. And what are the other ones? The Lee?
Resin.
Oh.
Yeah, they're glass and resin.
Okay.
So the The graduated filters are resin. You can get them in glass, but those are more expensive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm learning a lot here.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. It's not easy. I mean, it takes a lot of trial and error, you know. But you want to make sure, like what I tell people is, you know, make sure when you're starting out, you have a sturdy tripod, because when you're taking a long exposure, you want zero movement.
Good point.
From your camera, else you're going to have camera shake.
And that is something that everybody, I can't remember, somebody on my show was quoting somebody else who was quoting somebody else or something, so I don't know who said this, but he was saying, you know, when you start off, you buy the $200 tripod, and then you realize it's not good enough. So then you buy the $400 tripod, and you realize that's not good enough. So then you buy the $700 or the $1,000 tripod.
Yeah.
He's like, if you just buy the $1,000 tripod in the first place, you're going to save yourself a lot of money, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think you need to spend $1,000, but you know, I think my tripod was like $300. But you can, you know, there's also ways of like reinforcing. Like you can hang your bag from the middle of the center column.
Okay.
And that just drags it down, so there's weight on it, so it's not going to move as much.
What about in the sand? Will it make a difference? Or you're not sinking unless you're in the water, though, right?
Yeah. So whenever I put my tripod out, I mean, I stick it in there really good and shake it until it doesn't shake.
Okay.
So I know I'm not, because sometimes I get close to the water. So when the water comes ashore, it kind of like makes it sink. So you got to make sure you stick it down really hard.
Really deep. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the first key.
Yeah.
Decent tripod, and then stabilize it extra well.
Yeah, because you don't want to, you know, get that moment and you go home like, oh no, it's a little bit of blur.
You won't be able to tell until you
sometimes
get home.
You can't tell on the back of the LCD. It's like when
most
you go
times
home,
you can't tell.
Yeah, it's just that little bit, you know.
I know.
So
I mean, I think that we've all done that. Got so excited about a shot and get home on the computer, and it's like, oh my God, it's blurry.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, those are all things I learned just by not knowing and
from making mistakes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got my good tripod. I'm there. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Because if at 3 o'clock in the morning, I don't need to have a.
You don't.
I don't even need a filter.
No, you don't. It's just more when the light's starting to come up. You know, I'd say like 30 minutes before sunrise. You're still good without a filter, but like let's say 10 minutes before, you're gonna need that filter.
Okay.
To slow down the water or to, you know, have the moving clouds zoom by. So.
Okay, so if I were just going to buy one, should I buy? 3 stops, 6 stops?
I always tell people it depends when you're going to go shooting, because I don't recommend a 10 stop for sunrise.
Okay.
Because you're going to be there for a few hours just trying to get one shot. Because what it is, the way it works is you get your base exposure. So let's say, you know, you start off, you get your composition, and you have your base exposure where everything looks good. So let's say, you know, you're at f11 and your base shutter speed is like 1/10 of a second.
Okay.
Normal, but you want it longer than that. You have to then multiply by 10 now once you put a 10 stop on.
Okay, so if you're at 1/10 of a...
1/10 of a second, you're going to be there for like an hour or so.
All right, so if you have a... All right, so what is the math? So if you have a 3 stop, you just have to move up 3 stops? So if I'm at...
Pretty much, yeah.
But sometimes you move down 3 stops.
You want to go up, yeah, because you're darkening the scene, so you want to go up.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm not good at math.
I'm not good at math either.
So I use an app, you know.
Oh, there's an app for that? There's an app for everything.
Yeah. Again, Lee has their own app, and it's super easy where you put your base exposure. Like I said, you know, you start off at 1/10, and then it has like a button saying which filter do you have. So I would choose 10 stop, and then it's like, you just rotate it, and it says, okay, if you're at 1/10, you're going to be at 30 minutes once you put that filter on.
Okay, so it just tells you.
Yeah, it does the math for you.
So you just get your exposure without any filter first.
Yep.
So you go and you meter in the middle. You get your, if you're landscape, you're going to be at f8, f10, something like that, right?
Yep.
And are you always at ISO 100?
I am, yeah. More and more, you know, if in the mornings I'll go to 200. Just because I like that clean image.
Okay.
And the cameras these days are, you know, you go to 200, it's still clean.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah. But 100 is I leave it there. I never really touch the ISO.
Okay.
So, unless I'm going to shoot like the Milky Way.
Oh, yeah.
So, but that's a different story.
That's a whole different story. And you don't want that blurry.
No, you don't want that blurry, no. But yeah, I guess the other thing I would suggest is when you take your image, not to rely on the LCD, like for brightness.
Okay.
Always use the histogram. So if you go to like, I use Canon, so if you hit info, it'll bring up the actual histogram on the back of your LCD.
After
so
you take the picture.
Yep. Yeah. And you can see, you know, if you're too dark or you're too bright. So because, you know, I have my LCD on dim because it saves battery. So I don't want to trust the LCD.
Yeah.
I'm going to look at the histogram and I can see, okay, I'm not clipping on the whites or the blacks.
So when if somebody doesn't know how to read a histogram, basically they don't want to be,
You don't want to be on too far on the right or the left. So the left is your blacks and the right is your whites. So if you're touching the right side, you're going to have clipping where you may not be able to recover your highlights.
So you're overexposing parts of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're too much on the right, you're going to be overexposed. Too much to the left, you're going to be underexposed.
Okay.
So
look at the histogram. And I know how to do it on the Nikon too, but I forget. There's another. It's similar to the Canon.
You just fiddle with like what the LCD displays.
Yeah.
You know, you can have the electronic level. You can have the histogram.
So probably it's not a good idea to be in live view if you're doing this kind of stuff because first of all, it's not going to be accurate, right?
I do use live view just to get my composition. But yeah, I wouldn't trust it.
Plus, your battery's going to long exposures. You're using more battery power. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, because you're keeping your shutter open for a long period of time.
Yeah.
So.
I never would have thought of that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, we got the tripod. We got our filter.
Yep. And your exposures.
We figured out our exposure,
Yep.
then we put our filter on.
Yep. But you have to make sure you focus on everything first, too.
When you focus, do you put it in manual focus after you focus?
You want to lock everything down.
Okay.
Your focus, your composition, your tripod, you don't want to move anything. So once you put that filter on, it's going to be too dark for you to focus because it's like sunglasses, like extra dark sunglasses. So even if you look through the viewfinder or your LCD, you're not going to see anything.
So basically, do you use autofocus and then you flip your lens to manual? Is that how you do it?
You can. I'm a manual focus person.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah.
That's because you're young.
So,
I can't see anymore.
Yeah, but yeah, either way, at the end, you want to flip it to manual so it doesn't move.
So it doesn't move. So your composition, your focus, everything.
Yep.
Now, does your white balance, is it the same as if you're shooting fast shutter speeds?
Yeah. I leave my white balance in auto because, you know, in Lightroom I'll fiddle with it a little bit. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. Yeah.
Should you shoot RAW or JPEG or does it matter?
RAW. I always shoot RAW.
And why?
Yeah. Because you capture more information. So let's say you did get it a little bit overexposed, you have that information there in that RAW file to bring down the highlights or the whites.
Okay.
And recover your image. Whereas a JPEG, you don't have all that information.
Good point. I always shoot in RAW also, but...
Yeah. I mean, I know some people, they shoot both. They have the RAW and JPEG, but that's just taking up space.
Yeah. If I have a job where I need to give the pictures then I will, but most of the time I don't. So.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go through this again. Good tripod.
Yep.
And then get it down there really sturdy.
Especially if you're on the beach, you know, you want to get it stuck down in the sand.
Yeah.
One little tip is always use the last leg to sink it into the sand. I know some people, like, they go for the first leg to lower it.
Okay.
So the reason you want to use the last one is so sand doesn't get into, like, you know, if you have like the twist tripods, sand and water doesn't get in too much, and you know that's when you get that cracking sound. It's like, you ever get that?
Yeah, but I don't understand what you mean by the last leg.
So the last leg, it doesn't have the little twist lock. It's just the foot.
Oh, you mean on the bottom, the bottom of the, okay.
Yeah, so you just want the last foot in the sand.
So when you're stretching your tripod out,
I put the last foot out.
You put the last out first.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. Oh.
Because that way, because the sand is not going to go, it doesn't matter if it goes in the foot or not. You don't want it in your twist lock.
And that brings up another point, though, that you should rinse off your tripod when you get home.
Yeah.
Which, how many times do you do that?
I don't do it every time.
I know, I'm so bad
I don't,
at that.
But you know, you're gonna, especially if you invest in that $1,000 tripod.
Yeah,
you want to
should
take care of it. Yeah.
Yep. And salt water is not good for tripods.
It is not. Yeah.
And sand is terrible for tripods.
Sand, I mean, when my first tripod, it got ruined. I mean, you just hear it. It wouldn't even.
Hear it,
I couldn't even turn it because there was so much sand and stuff in there, and you know, I had to get a new one.
I got some good advice from Isaac Hadid from Southern Photo Technical Service. Do you know Isaac?
No.
From Miami. Anyway, he's like, "Did you vacuum out your camera bag recently?" I'm like, I never thought of that. So now I vacuum out my camera bag on a regular basis because there's all this dirt gets in there. You don't even think about it.
Yeah.
And sand is the worst thing. And here we live near the beaches, you know, so we're always out there.
Exactly. You don't want that in your filter or your sensor.
Yeah.
You know.
Jeez. Okay. So we got the good tripod. We got it. The
last foot.
The last foot first.
Yeah, last foot first.
We got it in there. We put the bag on to weigh it down, maybe.
Yep. So now you have no problems.
So then we get our exposure.
Yep. You got your composition.
We're shooting in manual all the time.
I am. Yes. Yes.
Can you shoot a long exposure in an automatic mode like shutter priority?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I mean, you just have to make sure you set it. I mean, in shutter priority, you can only go to 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. So that's the the lowest shutter speed you can get without going into bulb mode, even in manual.
Right.
You know, when you can turn it, it'll only go to 30 seconds. But I think it's different in Nikon. Do you use Nikon?
No.
No. Well, on Canon, you have to actually switch it to the little bulb, the B mode, and that's when you can go beyond 30 seconds. And
but if you're in an automatic mode, won't it change when you put the filter on it?
Well, if you're in shutter priority, it's going to judge it. Yeah, it depends on the light.
So if you couldn't use a filter, could you?
I guess you wouldn't need to because you have your shutter speed set. But if you say you want 30 seconds during the day, you're still going to use that filter to get you 30 seconds, and then.
Yeah, but won't it change your aperture to make it too dark or too light or too something?
Yeah, I get.
I don't know. I never shoot in any. I always shoot in manual, so I'm just thinking it through because a lot of people shoot in shutter priority or aperture priority or something. So
it's gonna make it so it's, I guess, because when you shoot in like aperture priority, if you shoot a white wall, it's gonna make it gray because the camera makes everything like 50% gray.
Right.
So that's why you use exposure compensation to get it to be white.
That's what I always tell people. It's just easier to learn how to shoot manual. Yeah. Everything's easier. You don't have to learn all these ways around things.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just take that off the table. We're shooting in manual.
Manual, yeah.
Long exposure, shoot in manual.
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right, so we're in manual. We get our composition right. We get our exposure right with our meter on 0. Mm-hmm. And then
focus is set.
Then we put it in manual focus and get everything focused. So then we put the filter on. We put a 3-step filter on, then we go into our app. Yep. And we say,
I have a 3-step. Well, my base exposure is, let's say, 1/10. And then I say I'm using a 3-stop. And it'll tell me what I need to change my shutter speed to.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And that's it.
And then you need a remote.
You can. It depends.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll use my 2-second timer.
Okay.
So I'll just push, and 2 seconds later, I'll take the exposure.
Is it better to do a timer, or is it better to have a remote shutter release cable? And is it better to have a remote shutter release cable or a remote shutter release digital?
You mean like a wireless?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I have both. I don't know why. The problem with the wireless ones is, you might run out of a battery.
Those things never work.
Yeah. Yeah, they're iffy. Like you'll click and I'll sometimes be there I'll put it right in front of the sensor and it doesn't go. But that's why maybe the battery died. That's why I like the wired ones.
Get the $8 wired one.
Exactly. Yeah. Just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's bad.
Well, and for us, we teach, okay?
Yeah.
So we've got our 5, we have small groups, but still you have 5 students, and we waste so much time just trying to get those stupid things to work, when if you just plug it in, it works every time.
Yeah. Plus you might be triggering somebody else's camera maybe.
Ooh, I never thought of that. That hasn't happened yet.
But yeah, I like the wired ones just because it's
and they're like $8.
Yeah.
Brand name. If you get the Canon brand name or Nikon brand name, it's only $8, $9 maybe. I don't know.
It's always going to work.
how steady do you have to hold that? Like, you can't just drop that so it's swinging after.
You don't. No, I kind of just loop it around my tripod head.
Okay.
So it's not like swinging too much, but.
And then you can just hit it. And then,
yeah.
because if you hit the shutter speed on the camera, you could shake the camera.
You could, yeah.
Okay.
It depends, on the situation you're in, but I would definitely stick with the wired remote, just because you're going to be guaranteed to have no shake caused by yourself. So
I'm like a fanatic about the wired.
Yeah.
It's like, it's cheaper and it works better.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Plus, like if you're going into like I said, longer than 30 seconds, you're going to need that shutter.
Because it'll hold it open for you, right?
Yeah.
So on one of those cable shutter, what is it called?
Shutter release, that's what I call it.
Shutter release cable.
Yeah.
Shutter release cable. So you can either click it or you can kind of click and lock it.
Yeah.
So you could be in bulb mode and have it on for 10 minutes
10
or
minutes
something
if you want. Yeah.
Okay.
And
But you don't do those super, super long exposures?
Not all the time, but I've done them. I think the longest one I've done was 8 minutes.
And what is good or bad or? You
don't get, you can only do so much with water, because you can only smooth water out so much. But with clouds, you can, get them zooming by. And so you're going to like really long streaks with 8 minutes, Especially if it's a windy day. The clouds are going to be moving fast and fast, so you're going to get that really cool.
So the weather kind of determines some of the things that you do.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
You just have to be prepared to do anything.
Be prepared, yeah.
Like a Boy Scout.
I always go for when it's a little bit cloudy, because I like the texture and the movement.
Well, in the summer we have tons of clouds.
Yep. Yeah.
Although, are there clouds first thing in the morning? I don't know. I don't get up and out and.
Well, yeah. Sometimes it's overcast and it's just nice clouds. Sometimes it depends on the level, Actually, the higher the clouds, they look like they're not moving, but they're actually moving the fastest. Believe it or not.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just
so it comes out in the picture better.
You'll actually get less movement, because with the bare eyes, it's actually not moving because it's so high.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
So anything else about the long exposures that we missed?
We talked about histogram. Always use that to check your exposure if it's right. So you're not underexposed or overexposed. No, I think that's it.
I think
as far as basics,
we did pretty good. I think.
You know,
is there anything that's not like more advanced that we should know? Would?
I mean, if you want to get into like stacking the filters, you know, I guess we were there with one. We had the 110 stop, but then you can put the graduated filter on to balance out your sky. So you know you don't have to like take multiple exposures and.
Now, how would you do the exposure if you did that? If you had, okay, is the app going to help me here? So no. I've got. See, there you just have to kind of figure it out.
Figure it out, yeah, yeah.
So could you put the graduated filter on first and then get your right exposure and then put your 3-stop in? Would that work?
No, you want to put your 3-stop in first.
Okay.
And then your grad.
So how do you know the exposure then?
Well,
well, the bottom is going to be the same.
It depends on the time of day, but you can actually see it on the LCD. You'll see the sky get darker. The lower you put it, the more dark it'll get.
Okay.
So you'll see some results.
Okay.
But if it's dark and, you know, it's kind of trial and error at that point.
Yeah.
Where you'll take it. But usually 3 stops is good enough as far as the neutral grad.
Okay.
So it's usually just safe to use a 3-stop and you'll be fine. And if not, just raise your exposure a little bit more.
Now, are the graduated filters, are they different stops too?
Yep. Yeah, they come in, I believe the lowest is 2 stops.
Okay.
And I think they go up to maybe 5 stops of light.
Okay.
But I only own a 3-stop and a 2-stop.
Of the graduated ones?
Yeah, the graduated, yeah. Because I find they work best for what I shoot.
That's what you like.
Yeah.
All right, cool, beans. So now, is there any special processing with this kind of thing, or?
Not really. I mean, sometimes you get a little noise when you have your shutter open that long. I know a lot of people, the cameras have, I think it's called long exposure noise reduction. I actually turned that off.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's another piece of advice.
If you're shooting JPEG, then you might want to have it turned on. But since you're shooting RAW, you can do all the noise reduction in Lightroom or Photoshop.
Okay.
Because what happens is, let's say you're taking a 30-second exposure with noise reduction on in camera, you're going to actually be there for 60 seconds. Because what it does, it takes the first exposure, and then it takes another one that's just calculating the noise, and it takes that information and puts it onto your first picture.
Okay.
So I just don't like waiting, you know,
No,
especially if like the sunrise is going. It's like, oh, I can't waste time, you know. You just want to.
So turn that off. The noise reduction. What's it called? Noise reduction. Long exposure noise reduction. Turn that off.
Yeah.
And then if there's noise, you can fix it in Lightroom a little bit using that luminance.
Yeah.
I knew
There's
it
also
was.
like I like the Nick tools.
Okay.
You heard of that one?
Oh yeah.
They have I think it's called Define.
Okay.
Define.
Okay.
And it does a really good job with noise reduction.
Oh, okay. I don't know
Yeah.
about that. I never
Yeah.
fool around with that
And
stuff. I've had them for. I actually bought the Nick tools when they were $300.
Oh, wow.
And I used them for a while, and then I just sort of.
Yeah, that's actually the only one I use really.
Oh.
Is the noise reduction, because it does such a good job.
And I don't think they're free anymore.
They're not.
Yeah,
They're not.
somebody bought the. Google sold the software
Yeah.
to somebody. I don't remember
Somebody
who.
else. I don't
Do you
know
know? No.
DxO.
Okay.
DxO.
DxO, yeah.
Okay.
I think they have their own apps and stuff too. They're like one of the. I think they're experts in lens calibration and stuff like that.
Okay.
I think so.
I don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
All right. So now, do you sell your images?
I do.
And
yeah.
you do. How do you sell them?
I do art shows. You can also
Oh.
buy it from my website,
Okay.
Satish.com.
Is that it? Just Satish?
Yep. I
You're
got
the
lucky.
only Satish.
I got lucky.
You did get
Yeah.
lucky.
I bought it years ago, and I was like, wow, I got it.
I bought my son's when he was like, a teenager. I
Okay.
thought, I'm buying his name because he's a musician.
Okay, yeah, great.
And I'm glad I did
Yeah.
because there's another musician with that same name.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't get my full name just because it's too long.
Yeah.
So Satish.com, and
Satish
Yeah.
is easy too.
it's easy.
That's so cool. And you sound so important, like Cher or Madonna.
I guess I never looked
I
at
am
it that
just
way.
Satish.
Satish, yeah. Yeah.
All right, so art shows, we teach a lot of people and mentor a lot of people on selling their art. And art shows are usually the fastest way to sell your art and
Yeah.
get recognized as an artist.
Yeah.
Now, do you do a lot of them? Because you're a graphic artist too.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
So you're working a lot.
Yeah. I do maybe 4 shows a year. I do the local ones.
Okay.
I actually haven't been on this side of the coast yet. I've done like Jupiter, Hobie Sound, South Miami, and they all have different results. But I would like to do more,
Yeah.
especially on this coast. I hear the West Coast is better for landscape and nature photography.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah, that's we know when you speak to other artists, they're like, "Oh, you got to go to the West Coast."
Yeah, I know art shows do well here. I
Yeah.
told you I have an Airbnb, and
Yep.
whenever we have the big shows,
People
I
can
have all
stay,
the
yeah.
artists
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I think the East Coast they like.
And they
the
come
more
from all over. I mean, they come from Michigan and Maine and
nice.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
it gets expensive.
yeah.
Yeah, it's an investment.
expensive. It's expensive to start off. In fact, there's a guy. He came to one of our classes. I forget where he lives now. Orlando, maybe. Anyway, he came down for we have a workshop, like a full day workshop called Selling Your Photography.
Oh, okay.
He came down for that, and so he documents what it's really interesting to watch his Facebook. I told him he needs to get it on his blog too, but he documents his journey as an artist.
Wow.
So he had documented like putting up the tent for the first time and
Oh my
like all the
goodness.
poles, like where do they all go? And
I remember that. It was like
and
it's
then
like a puzzle.
talked about how expensive it was.
Yeah.
Just the tent and the panels and everything like
Yeah.
that. It's an investment, and then you have to invest in your artwork.
Yeah, you have to print it out.
And then if nobody buys it,
You have stock.
you have stock.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you have to have a place to keep it,
Yep.
because we don't have
Space.
basements here in
No.
Florida. So
No, you rent storage or
Yeah.
use your mom's garage.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it gets expensive,
Now, do you have? Okay, so you have a look of this dreamy kind of emotional seascapes, and do you have other collections too, or is this kind of your thing?
A few years ago, I kind of decided to just focus on ocean.
Okay.
I recently started a new collection called Ocean Art, where it's just photos I've taken in the ocean, and it's almost abstract looking, where it's just I capture like the light hitting the ripples of the water.
Oh, okay.
And it has like this ethereal feel. So I'm actually in the water with my camera. I have a camera water housing. So I'm zooming in all the way, just capturing the little ripples with the light and the color. And it just, I mean, to me, it just has such emotion and feeling and just this sense of calm, you know, like how often do you like go to the beach and look at the ripples,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, especially when the light hits them, it's so cool.
And you get different results, you know, if it's calm or a little bit choppy, you get a little bit more texture in it. So
and those are not short. Those are short
those are really short. I mean, I'll go up to like 4,000th of a second.
Yeah, because you're doing that midday probably. Yeah.
Well, yeah, when the sun comes up too, like in the morning, because I'm shooting at a low f-stop, so I'm at 2.8.
Oh.
So
okay.
Because I really just want to capture that one ripple, you know. So it's singled out. So it's like almost like ocean portraits.
Oh, that's cool.
You know? Yeah.
I think you're smart to kind of come up with like you're the ocean photographer.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Even if you have different collections within that.
Yeah.
It's smart to become known like that.
Yeah, I think I have 3 collections as far as ocean. I have the landscapes, like seascapes. I have the ocean art, and I have another one called Sea Motions.
What's that?
Sea Motions is I just made up the word, so it's sea emotions. Oh. So the emotions of the sea. And it's kind of a combination of long exposures or like slow shutter speeds of like waves crashing. So you'll get like, instead of like seeing all the detail, it'll be more like a painting of like a wave, you know. So you'll see all the streaks.
I did see that on your website.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Those are hard because it's just hard to control the camera, you know. And sometimes I do intentionally move the camera to get that movement. Okay. To get the.
Are you on a tripod when you do
that?
No,
I'm just holding.
But you're at a slower, but not a super slow shutter speed, right?
It ranges. Like I think the slowest I'll go is like 1/8. Okay. At that.
So
after
it's
that,
going to be blurry, but you're kind of going for that blurry.
So it looks like a brushstroke, you know.
Okay.
So.
I have such a cool picture I took with my point and shoot camera one time. I was on the bus. Coming back from, we went to, I don't know, I was in France. I can't remember the painter. Anyway, I took a picture of all the poppies on the side of the road through the bus window, and the bus jerked with my point and shoot camera. Okay. And it looks just like an impressionist painting. Yeah. It is like one of the coolest pictures I've ever taken. Yeah. It was just because the
Sometimes
bus jerked.
Yeah.
It was so funny. I'm like, oh my God, this came out so cool.
Because I think I started doing it because we all know the technique panning, where you just have a fairly low shutter speed, like 1/8, 1/4, and you move the camera
1/15 to 1/13
intentionally. You know, I mean, you've seen the image where like you
follow the car,
or the car, or just like if you're shooting the ocean, you just kind of pan it really quick, and you'll get like the
just to get a nice
so it's like almost like a fake long exposure. So everything will be streaks. Yeah. You know, and from there, I'm like, oh, I wonder if I can do this in the water. And it kind of worked. You know, it works better with like a choppy ocean because all the waves will be there. So
we couldn't do it over on our side over here on the West Coast.
No.
We're calm over here.
Too calm, yeah.
Now, your housing, is that, did you get the expensive housing, or do you have a bag? Or?
No, I didn't use a bag. No, I have Aquatech housing. I figured if I'm gonna put my expensive camera in the water, I'm gonna protect it. You know, I don't want it to leak, because that's.
How much was the housing?
The housings, they're not cheap either. I mean, I think I got it on sale for like $1,200.
Oh, that's way cheaper than I thought, though.
Yeah,
I thought they were like $3,500.
They vary in price, but mine is kind of basic. It's called a sport housing, so it's kind of light and it holds my Canon camera, and it has interchangeable ports too. So most of my ocean art is actually with my 7200, but you can buy a different port and you just unscrew it for like a wide angle lens. Oh. You know, I mean, I think people have seen like the over under shots where it's yeah. So that's with a wide angle lens. Okay. So you're getting under the water and above. So that's something I kind of want to get into more.
I love that.
I love those, yeah.
And I've never been able to do it. I haven't tried very hard. Yeah. But, you know, you try to do it with a GoPro and it's not going to happen, you know?
It's not the same, but it's a good place to start. I guess it's a lot of technique involved. Like, 'cause I've tried it, but it never comes out the way I want.
Well, now you got our whole audience. We're going to be looking at your website.
I have to
see
yeah.
that happening. There was
Yeah.
a lady who posted on the NANPA Facebook group, which is what, North American Nature Photographers Association.
Yeah.
And she had an alligator
I've seen that shot.
half under, and
Yeah,
it was
it's amazing.
so striking. And she was inches away, and he had his mouth open. And I was like, I hike in the Everglades a lot, but I don't think I'd be in the water 3 inches away from the mouth of an alligator, because that's how they kill you. They drown you.
That's bravery.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to see yours.
Yeah.
Yours are going to be cool.
I hope so. It takes a lot of work, so I have a few projects coming up. More collections, I guess I'm looking to explore. You know,
Okay.
I'm kind of getting into black and white now too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Channel my inner Clyde Butcher, you know.
Although I don't think he goes in the water.
no, I'm more for landscapes.
Yeah. But for the beach scenes, that would be
yeah.
pretty too.
Just something peaceful about black and white too.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And you know, one of the things he's known for is big, and for landscape photography, big pictures are so nice.
That's the way to go, yeah.
Right. So what else is coming up for Satish? Satish.com.
Maybe I want to try and branch out more to like YouTube. I want to start a little bit more of be more personal. I think I suffer from like that shy artist syndrome. You know, I'm not very I'm kind of just shy. So I want to kind of learn to get more confidence and talk to more people, and just share my journey a little bit more.
I think people love that too.
Like I bought a GoPro, so I just want to kind of shoot what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And share that, you know.
I have to get better at that, because to me, you know, my generation, we think that's weird. And so it's hard for me, because nowadays that's what everybody does.
It is, yeah.
And it feels like conceited or something. You know what I mean?
It has a little bit to it. I mean, I'm a little hesitant. Maybe that's why I'm a little hesitant. But
people love it.
I think there's a way to do it.
I love it. Like I had a guest here from Miami, Aiden Chavez, and he videotaped all kinds of stuff. He and Joe went and shot the sunset. He videotaped that. He's like, I'm in Naples, Florida, da 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 da. And I'm like, I loved watching it.
Yeah.
You know, and so I've got the same thing. I got to kind of have to get over that. Like.
Yeah, I definitely don't think I'm ready to be on camera yet. But I just want to
You're on camera right now,
yeah,
buddy.
I know.
And you're doing great.
But you know, just one thing I've been doing is time lapses too.
Oh,
so I'll set up the GoPro, and you can kind of see me moving around, trying to find a composition, and you know, I love that. You know, to me.
And is it going to be youtube.com/Satish? We don't know yet.
One day, not yet. I think
you better grab that name.
I think I have 11 subscribers right now. So
but you already have the. Do you have the name?
I have my YouTube channel. Yeah.
And you got that name?
I don't. I think you have to wait now.
I think you have to have a certain amount of subscribers first.
They changed the rules.
Yeah, they keep changing the rules. It's hard to keep up.
But I mean, yeah, if you go to my website, all the links are there to all my social media, YouTube.
Satish.com.
Satish.com.
I love that.
Yes, simple and easy, and you won't forget it.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, I guess that's what's in the future for me, just getting out more and documenting my photography.
Yeah.
You know? Some people, I guess they don't understand what we go through to get the shot. You know, like you said, the lady getting into the water with the alligator. Like,
yeah, I'd love to see behind the scenes
that
on
one,
that one.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how close was she?
She said 3 inches is what she said, because she got a lot of comments on that.
But
Facebook
I would love to
group.
see that. You know.
Yeah, I'm sure it probably keeps popping to the back because it wasn't that long ago. It was like less than a week ago that she posted it. It was crazy. 3 inches.
That's
now
insane.
I've had to step over them on dry land.
Really, you have?
Oh, well, don't you ever hike in the Everglades?
Not as much anymore.
There's alligators out there, you know.
Not as much anymore.
But it's not as scary because you know they don't.
Wow.
It's still
I don't
scary.
Think I would ever step
it's
over
still
one.
Scary. Well, you're going to be stuck in the Everglades all night if you don't. There's nowhere to go.
Oh, wow.
The thing is, you know, here that we have the trams where the logging trails used to be, and they sun themselves.
Yeah.
So your choice is to go in the water around them or step over them.
Okay.
And you don't want to go in the water.
Because you don't know if there's more in there.
Well, it's not that. It's just that they're stronger in the water.
Okay.
You don't want to go in the water.
I think I don't know what I would do.
Well, thank you for being on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Really appreciate it.
Really fun. Appreciate it.
And I think we all learned a lot about long exposure photography. I think that could be like a class right there, although it has to be more organized because we were kind of over the place.
Yeah,
but
I actually just did a post on my website, a blog post on how to do long exposures. It's kind of step by step.
Satish.com.
Satish.com/blog.
Ah.
So
got that. Plus, Heather is busy taking notes, so it's going to be on, the show notes will be on our website on understandphotography.com. So, and this, of course, will be on YouTube, and it's a podcast, too. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Remember, today is the last day of our sale of our online classes, so understandphotography.com, or you can go directly to the class site, which is onlinephotoworkshops.com. I'm Peggy Farron. Thank you so much for watching episode 103. Join us next week when I interview Wayne Bennett. Thank you for watching the Understand Photography show. It would help us immensely if you would click like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.